Danielle, good morning. Happy to be painting today. This is my first painting day since my fall, and I'm hoping that I can sit at my desk long enough to do this video for all of you. But today we're going to be painting with another color from my dot card, which is the Quinacridone Magenta. It's a series 2. It is not granulating. It is a transparent, beautiful color. And here it is, full strength. So I'm going to share the beauty of it as a standalone color, but then also the magical mixes, and I'm going to share who its best friend is on my palette and just talk a little bit more about this pigment. But first, let's talk about what Daniel Smith has to say about it. I downloaded this off of the Daniel Smith website. It's called Color Stories, and this goes over all the colors and it tells you the story behind the color, or a little bit about the color. So for Quinacridone Magenta, they state, this deep red violet disperses evenly and moves from deep darks to clear glowing washes. Like all quinacridone, it is extremely light, fast, organic pigment. In terms of complementary couples, Quinacridone Magenta works especially well with yellow greens. Highly durable and extremely transparent, all the Daniel Smith quinacridone colors excel in vivid clarity and intensity. Now, my last color swatch and scape was on the Quinacridone Red, which is also a pinky red. So if you haven't watched my previous videos on swatch and scapes, I've done Hands Yellow Light, Quinacridone Sienna, Quinacridone Red, and today we're doing our Quinacridone Magenta. As always, please remember to like this video and leave me a comment if you enjoy these types of pigment studies, and I'll continue them. Since this is the last quinacridone on my dot card, I thought I would share just a little more information. And again, all of this is available to you off the Daniel Smith website if you just go under their resources page. So here are some fun facts about quinacridones. It's an organic compound that was first discovered in 1896. It was in 1955. It was developed as an industrial pigment, and then DuPont began marketing it to the automotive industry in 1958. So discovered in 1896, but not commercialized until 1958. Most quinacridone pigments are pink or red, but their full range runs between orange and purple. The size and structure of the pigment particles dictate the hue. Quinacridone offers intense, vibrant color that's staining, yet still beautifully transparent. And Daniel Smith was first to use quinacridone pigments for watercolor in 1993, and now we offer 14 colors. So to learn more about each individual, you can go to the color stories, which I just showed you, and there's also a lot of wonderful YouTube videos from the John Cogley Lives, which is a live demonstration from the brand ambassadors of Daniel Smith that have some videos about quinacridones. I'm going to put those links in the description if you'd like to do a deeper dive. But I wanted to show you the range of color that Daniel Smith offers in the quinacridones. At the time of this blog post, which was September 2023, Daniel Smith had the widest range of quinacridones in the world. 14 colors, and you can get them as 15mm tubes. Some of them are 5mm, and some of them are available as the stick. They are perfect for glazing, layering, and blending, and they're brilliant from their most pure out of the tube form all the way down to watered down. That's why I love them, because I can get intense, beautiful saturated color and gorgeous pastels. So the first color here is the Quinacridone Burnt Orange, Quinacridone Burnt Scarlet, Quinacridone Sienna, Quinacridone Deep Gold, Quinacridone Gold, Quinacridone Coral, Quinacridone Red, Quinacridone Rose, Quinacridone Pink, Quinacridone Fuchsia, Quinacridone Magenta, Quinacridone Violet, Quinacridone Lilac, and Quinacridone Purple. So now that we've talked about what the Daniel Smith company has to say about quinacridones, I'm going to share from my own some of my favorite color mixes and talk a little bit about why this color landed on my palette. First, let's get some pure Quinacridone Magenta mixed up. This has like a tablespoon of water in it, and I'm just going to mix that up till it has a nice, so here it is in its pure form, and you can see the intensity of that color is quite amazing. And then as we water it down, you'll see how it can shift to just a barely there pink. Isn't that so pretty? So you can get this dark value all the way to a lighter pigment. Now, one of Quinacridone Magenta's best friends, last time we swatched together, I had talked about how Quinacridone Sienna and Phthalo Turquoise are best friends and can make such beautiful colors from like a sap olive green all the way into burnt umbers and burnt siennas. Gorgeous. Well, did you know that Phthalo Turquoise and Quinacridone Magenta are also best friends? So let me show you why. I'm going to start by just mixing a couple puddles here. Doberman glitter. There we go. Let's see if that's on camera. It is. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to take some of that Phthalo Turquoise, and I'm going to mix it up and show you guys how you get a lovely purple, and then you add a little bit more turquoise and you can get this lovely, I don't know, like a Prussian blue, and a little bit more turquoise, and you can get just kind of a desaturated version of that Phthalo Turquoise. So that is a really beautiful color range, especially if you look at what the Phthalo Turquoise looks like on its own, which is right here. So you can see how you can take that and desaturate it. So having these two colors gives you this full range of beautiful purples and kind of like a faience and danthorone blue, a Prussian blue, and then your bright, turquoise and everything in between. Some other really fun colors to mix with it. I'm going to take a little bit of this Bronzite Genuine. Bronzite Genuine is a Primatech color. It has a little bit of shimmer from the oxide particles in it, and when you mix it with the magenta, you get this pretty sparkly rose color. Isn't that beautiful? And because it's a quinacridone, even all these colors, even watered down, are going to have a little bit of stain power because they're so staining. Really like that color. If you take the Quinacridone Magenta and the Enviro-Friendly brown iron oxide, and this would work with like a brown burnt umber, burnt sienna, but you mix that, you can get a gorgeous, look at that, a gorgeous like maroon sienna color, and again, even watered down. So the cool thing about magenta as a hue is that it works really, really good in nature to add a little bit of magenta into your browns to get just a deeper, richer color. Add a little bit of magenta into your greens and it'll desaturate it. Even your brightest of yellow, I think I showed this before, but if you take like hands of yellow and then you mix it with the Quinacridone Magenta, look at this beautiful color. And you can water that down and see how you can get this nice range of kind of a peachy sand color. If you take some of the Payne's Gray, for instance, and you mix that with magenta, wait for this. Look at that beautiful, like blackberry color. You can take one of the magic colors, like the lunar blue, for instance, mix that with the magenta. I'm gonna put a little extra lunar blue to show you this great gray. Look at that, it's like a purpley, it kind of leans to the purple side. God, that's so beautiful. I mean, look at this range of color. Look at how pretty that was. It almost looks like Jane's gray, doesn't it? And that was just with the lunar blue. I better mark these so I'll remember who's who, right? So this is Phthalo Turquoise. This is Quinacridone Magenta Full Strength. This was with the Bronzite Genuine. This was with the Enviro-Friendly Brown. This was with the Hansa Yellow Light. What was that one? I don't remember. I'll have to watch the video back. We have a couple more spots, but let's talk about mixing it with a little bit of Prussian green. We talked about how it mixes with Phthalo Turquoise, but what if we put more green? What does that do to the color? Another beautiful deep blue color. Look at that. Do any of these color mixes surprise you? A color mix that can just pretty much hardly ever go wrong is if you take French ultramarine and you mix it with any of the Quinacridones, you get something that's kind of neat in the fact that it can pull away and create a little bit of magic. But look at the brightness of that purple. I mean, that is a true beautiful purple color. As you can see, this color really mixes well with all the colors. What was that one? Let me think. Payne's Gray. Okay, and this was French Ultramarine. So just to recap, here's your Quinacridone Magenta in its strongest form, all the way down to its prettiest pink, little Payne's Gray, a little bit of Bronzite, mixing it with Phthalo Turquoise. They're just best friends. You get these incredible range of color. The Enviro-Friendly Brown, or any brown, dropping some of the Quin Magenta into it can just bring a richness to your landscapes. The Hansa Yellow Light turns into this gorgeous, like burnt raw sienna color, and I mean, isn't that just so pretty, both in its stronger saturated form and in its watered down. To make that perfect purple, you have the French Ultramarine. But I will say that when I say perfect purple, it goes beyond just that color that it looks like when it's all stable, meaning that you mixed it, you put it on the paper, and it's got some staying power. But watch this. This is where, when I say mixing a color with French Ultramarine does something that's super cool. And that is, you get, it's a clean water. You'll get color separation. So I'm going to put some water on the paper so I could show you. So I'm going to put that water down. So the two pigments will kind of jockey for position. So if you have your French Ultramarine, right, watch how it's moving across the wet wash. And then if you have your Quinacridone, see how it doesn't? So the French Ultramarine pushes across the water where the Quinacridone Magenta kind of retreats and collects in itself. So when you mix the two colors together, let's do it right here. Let's make the wash of the Quinacridone Magenta and the French Ultramarine together on the paper, they're doing this thing now where each color is behaving a little different. Look at that one spread out, that one pulled in. So you're going to have areas where you're going to see the pink pigment and you're going to see the blue pigment. I call those separations. I don't know if you guys have a better word for it, but let's go ahead and mix it up a little bit more. So a really pretty example of this would be any of the pinky quinacridones. Quinacridone red, rose, lilac, fuchsia, and French ultramarine. Or you could do any of the cobalts. Mix your quinacridone pinky colors with your cobalts. That can create a similar effect where you don't just get a static flat color. You can, if you mix it, apply it, and it dries quite evenly and quite fast. But in high water applications, that's where you get some real magic when you take a quinacridone and a granulating color. So see how the pink over here is pulling away? So we're gonna let those dry and then I'll show you how they look at the end of the video. So for today's scape, we did our swatches. Now to do our scape, I was thinking of doing a really powerful, beautiful, cloudy sunset kind of image. So I'm gonna print that off and get ready to paint. So the reference photo that I'll be painting from today is by a photographer that goes by the handle Dynamic Wing. And this is off of pexels.com. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the description box. And I thought that it was a little bit less obvious on the colors. Since we're doing Quinacridone Magenta, you might think that I'm going to stay in this world or stay in that world. But since I did that in my last video, and look, you can really see how the French ultramarine is pulling from the pink. It is such a fun thing to play with. But anyways, but I thought that this will showcase the Quinacridone Magenta's mixing power. Because look at these colors here, right? And this pretty blue color would probably be somewhere in here, like watered down. And then we even have our dark gray colors. So I'm thinking we could pull this off. Something inspired by this, right? So I'm gonna set this off to the side and we're gonna go ahead and paint this out. I want more sky, less water, so I'm just going to put a little horizon line. And I think that's about it. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go wet on wet using the colors we already mixed up, and I might add as needed. So let's start with, where's that? Oh, there it is. There's that beautiful blue color. Let's get a little bit of that blue in the story. And I can add just a touch of the phthalo turquoise to make it a little bit more blue, a little bit more this, a little bit more that. Then I can go right in to some of these darks and start putting some of that beautiful sky. I really love how you go from the dark to the light colors. So I was thinking maybe there's a way to just touch in so we have some of that. Look at that, isn't that pretty? These colors layer, and that's where the magic really happens, is you get a layering thing where they kind of want to piggyback each other. They want to get along. So that was Hands Yellow Light, a little bit of the Quinacridone Sienna. I can start to really lay it in. So maybe I'll just put a little bit more up here, just a little bit in that cloud. It's so fun to have a little bit of warm amongst the cool in your skies. I can put some of these darks in there, because look at, we have darks, right? And I can go ahead and start transitioning down into the dark here. How are we do it. I'm gonna leave that white right there because that's where I'm gonna put our sun. I'm just going to water that down. And then right on the line here, I'm gonna take some of that Payne's Gray and the magenta, and I'm gonna get a nice dark. And that's where I'm gonna put the mountain, and I'm gonna let it kind of blend right in to what's already there. There we go. Oh my gosh, look at the gorgeousness of that already. Loose, abstract. Then it gets nice and light right here, doesn't it? So let's go back to this beautiful color. I'm gonna leave just barely there white line. Maybe kiss it in a couple spots. There we go. Let's put a little more yellow in there. Get a nice strong sun. There we go, because that's where the sun's gonna be, right? So we want some of that Hansa yellow. And then pull some of that blue, right? We have phthalo turquoise, a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta to tint it. And we can start adding that. And they're letting it do its layering, letting it do the thing it's known for. These colors layer. So your Hansas, your Quinacridones, and oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And your phthalos, they all want to kind of layer together. So I'm going to take this and punch up. I'm just going to mix. Let's mix all of these and get a green. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Let's just put a little green in here. Why not? Just something to contrast a little bit. There we go. Oh, so pretty. Letting the layers all decide what they're going to be. We go in with just a little bit more. This is the French Ultramarine and Quinacridone Magenta, and now I'm adding just a touch of the turquoise. So I just want a couple passages where there's a little bit more of that blue. Oh gosh. I know I get very excited about color. So that, to me, is something very special about the magentas, the Hansas, and the phthalos, is that, or phthalos, depending on how you pronounce it, is that they blend together and they have this fusion that happens on paper that creates like new colors. And so every time I paint with them, I'll find a new color. Like nowhere in our color study today did we find this pale whisper blue, but look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh. If I go in right now and touch anything, it's gonna create blooms and blossoms. So I'm just gonna let this dry and then I'll go in and do the final steps on it. All right, so I just dried this just a little bit, and now I get to work out how I want, or what I want to do with it, if anything. It's very beautiful, a little abstract right now. I could take a beautiful little, I could do something, let's see here, something like that. Take a toothbrush, a little water, so even though these are super staining colors, you can lift them, which is a nice little surprise. Put a little sun there, and now I can work on a little bit more of that beautiful yellow color. And when I said staining, there you go, staining. Very staining. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up some of that Hansa yellow light and a little bit of the magenta. Get a nice sunny golden color. And I'm going to water it down a little bit, and I'm going to go right over that. See that? And I'm going to do a glaze to bring out a little more, get a little bit more magenta here, a little bit more of mystery in the bottom part of it. A little bit more of a glow, a little bit more of a show. There we go. Just made it a little bit more obscure, you see that? And then if I wanted to, I could bring my horizon line up just a little bit by taking some of that French ultramarine and mixing that in to the magenta and the little bit of yellow, and I can kind of bring a mountain line in a little bit more. There we go. We're working with illusions here. So let's go with a little more magenta. Make this a little bit more strong there. There we go. A few more of these clouds in. Sometimes the value is what can really make a painting come to life. So we have that dark value there, and then we have it down here. You see it? So I can go in now, and I can pick a couple little spots, and I can deepen it a little bit more of the French ultramarine. Right? I could even, if there's an area that is, oh, I think that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to put a touch of the blue right at the base line. There we go. Just to send it. And maybe just a touch and a couple spots up in the sky. There we go. I am happy with that. Beautiful, simple, fast, abstract sky. While that dries, I'm going to pull this off. Let's go ahead and pull our tape off. To recap, we talked about the layering beauty of Quinacridone Magenta, how it can create layers, and it can really shift into some beautiful colors that are a little unexpected. We talked about how it can create color separations when you mix it in with granulating colors like the cobalts and the French ultramarines. Quinacridone Magenta is really one of my favorite colors. So I hope you enjoyed today's swatchscape. Our Hands Yellow Light, Quinacridone Sienna, Quinacridone Red, and now Quinacridone Magenta. And as a bonus, I wanted to do a little something extra, which was do a pour. Here is some of those colors that I poured with the Quinacridone Magenta, how it dried. Really beautiful. There's definitely a color dominance with the Quinacridone Magenta. And here is an example of how you can just tone colors with it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this study, and I forgot to stamp it. I'm loving this series. I'm loving exploring these colors and sharing with all of you. So hopefully you can share which was your favorite color mix. Was it the magenta with the turquoise, the bronzite, the Payne's gray? What about the lunar blue or the French ultramarine purple? What about mixing it with the Hands Yellow Light or the Enviro-Friendly brown? Let me know which mix was your favorite. And if you decided to paint along, the reference photo is in the description, and I would love to see your finished paintings. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy swatching.